Well, welcome to the Life at a Glance podcast. What are we going to talk about this week? Last week, I felt very vulnerable. I felt very vulnerable about asking for something that I want without feeling difficult or bitchy. So if you missed that episode, go back and listen to that. It was an interesting take. And the three strategies that I gave at the end, it was interesting that Daniel and I were even talking about that over the weekend in our travels back and forth to Lowe's and Home Depot. We are really trying to push, I think next week, 100%, we're going to be in our little house so they can start working on the big house. So there are going to be new cans of worms that we get to open. But this week is, I think, another interesting conversation around the evolution of a product or changing products. And I think there is an important distinction between the two. Evolution of an offer is refining, improving, expanding, while changing offers is jumping from one thing to another. And it's oftentimes the jumping from one thing to another that is overwhelming, anxiety, stress. You're just pulled in so many different directions. It's really hard to optimize unless you have a structure where you're the CEO, you've got an operational manager, you have folks that are supporting the operational manager and taking care of all the little things. And maybe that works. I think that an evolution of an offer versus changing, and I've had both. Evolution of the offer is I look at that like my seasonal event. It literally was the same thing and it happened every 6 months and I did it for 17 years. So that's what, 32, 34 quote unquote launches. And so we felt like we had a good system from day one, but the evolution of that product, the product itself stayed the same. It was more the systems that supported that offer that really evolved over time. The offer itself did not change really at all. We sold used children's clothing items and we never deviated from that or really our target customer. And so changing offers, I've been in that situation more on the digital side, digital business side, where at the end of the day, I was just like, tell me what to sell. Like, I felt like offers were changing so much. It was kind of the same thing, but it required a lot of task switching. And some of the task switching that occurred, some of those things were really intensive tasks that needed to be completed. And so you almost wanted to procrastinate and not do them because it was so time intensive versus let me just get these easy checks out of the way and move on. Changing offers also, if I'm thinking about like large groups of people, whether it's my online or my offline business, you cannot change quickly. I see people do this and I'm like, how is their audience not 100% confused by what's going on? And I learned this early on when my seasonal event, so hundreds of people working to do setup and me thinking, oh, I'm going to change more than one thing. So it's almost like all lights are green and everybody is bumping into each other and you're just sitting back watching the chaos unfold and you're just like, stop, let's go back to the old way very quickly and we'll revisit and I'll just change one thing. That was the lesson that I learned and that's how I learned that. So evolution of an offer versus changing offers. I don't know why I haven't learned earlier on to stick with one thing because that's what I did for 17 years. But for whatever reason, when I transitioned online, it took me a while to kind of figure out my one thing, but then also just like stick with that one thing. Because I feel like I've come full circle this year. So let's talk a little bit about just different strategies for an evolving offer without confusion. Where I am now in the season of life and season of business is I want streamlined business operations. That means what I do, what Heather does, how my clients receive the things that they purchase, how I interact with members inside of the membership. I really want that to be streamlined. I want actually to work less. I hate this whole idea of hustle culture. It is not a flex to me. If anything, it feels exhausting. And I think that is also contributed to by changing offers. But when I looked at the data, and I'll give you a really specific example. So we changed software. And the software we changed, somewhere on the confirmation, it said download link. And when people buy a template, typically they think they're going to download the template. And so the inbox blew up with, I can't download the template. And we're like, why can't you download the template? Well, when we finally looked back at the download link, we understood what the problem was. If it's clear to you, perfect. If it's clear as mud to your customer, that's where the problem is. Data-driven decisions. So what did we do? We changed that confirmation page, number one. Number two, with this new software, it does not have like a funnel step like other softwares that we've used. So we have a confirmation, it goes to a video to let you know what to expect. This was the opportunity to evolve, not necessarily the offer, but the customer experience, to let them know exactly what to expect now that they've purchased. Because their high is that dopamine, we've made a purchase, you don't want it to be regret. And so I want them to see, hey, I'm a human on the other side. Thank you so much for your purchase. I appreciate you. Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen next. That is golden right there. If you can capture their attention, you can let them know what to expect, everybody's good. Even if something goes wrong, if you let them know what to expect, it's like we're both working together. And I love working with my members to solve a problem, right? So key. And then I point down, we now have a PDF. And that PDF literally walks them through 1, 2, 3 in order to get up and running quickly. It's a quick start guide. I want them to understand that. I want them to understand, I don't own Trello. I don't own Atlassian. Atlassian owns Trello, and whoever owns Atlassian, yay. There's another, this is evolution of offer. The top of the template, I put cards. They're graphics. And it just emphasizes what that list is. And I give you access now to a template so that you can make your own. Why did I do that? Because I kept getting questions. What are the size? What is the size of the graphic that you're using? And now I'm getting, I can't change that. I'm like, oh, well, that's just a graphic and I've given it to you. So that's another example, evolution of the offer, data-driven decision. Basically, it's inbox management. So your data-driven decision can be how customers are telling you that things aren't clear to them. It can tell you from sales. It can also tell you if you have just one-on-one conversations with people, which I love the touch points that we have. So we always greet folks with videos from confirmation, and you also receive an additional video welcome and inviting you to Trello Tuesday. You see me, I am there, you will see me, and I work with you to help implement what you have purchased, right? And so all of those little touch points are inbox, direct conversation with my customer. So I know it's a seamless, as much as I can make it right now, there's going to be another evolution of it. There should always be another evolution of it. When we're changing offers, we're just changing from one thing to another. It confuses your audiences and disrupts your momentum. I am very careful now when I start in my mind, should I add that? Is that a change because I'm bored, or is that a change and I'm going to sabotage myself? Or is that a change because the offer is evolving? So it really is something that I am very cognizant of when I start to ask myself those questions. All right. So layering instead of replacing. All right. Another way that we can evolve an offer, adding additional bonuses, right? There with the bonus I just gave you, like that's a really good example of people were asking, what size is this graphic? What size is the graphic? Let me just give it to you. Like, don't even worry about it. You can use it with a free Canva account. All you have to do is to click on the card and you can add your brand colors and you can do your own fonts. So something like that is the evolution of an offer. In some membership, I love this. And I don't know that people recognize this. Um, think about when you join a program, one of the things is you start to block off time on your calendar and you're sitting there for basically hour blocks of time. And if you're in a coaching program and you're sitting there waiting for hour blocks of time, you're waiting for your question to be answered. Maybe your question is answered and then you go and implement after the call. Guess what happens? You've got another question, right? And so what do? Well, we wait till the following week when we have another session, or maybe you have a Facebook group, who knows, in order to get the next question because you took action on the question that you originally had. So we have a system where literally any point you have friction, help me, Rhonda, you ask a question. I answer the question, and based on the answer, I will send, hey, use this in this playbook, and it goes directly to your inbox. A lot of times the questions are different tech questions inside of the membership, but there are also, hey, what about this? I'm having a question around this. Oh my gosh, let me help you with that. And it's on demand, on demand. I know that there are other different types of on demand coaching. Call it advanced maternal age. Like, I like to see it. I like to see it. And now I'm even working on an AI companion so that it has all of my coaching, all of my workshops, all in one AI companion. And you'll be able to ask the companion anything. And it will be able to respond in my voice, and it will be able to share videos, and it will be able to share where you should go for resources. Evolution of an offer based on data. Now, that is me also having fun because we're layering bonuses in there as well. So I had this happen where communicating the upgrades clearly. So I had a situation where I had to pivot very quickly. And when I did, I knew that there would be a lot of questions around it. So I was braced for that. And sometimes, like, when I look out and I see someone, they're selling something that they are retiring. So they're selling it for a reduced rate. And so that reduced rate, I guess, is the enticement. But why would I want to purchase something that's retiring because there will be no support to that thing? I have never understood. And that would be like an example of communicating upgrades clearly. I feel that, like, if you have a low ticket membership and then you have a higher ticket or a premium offer, the question is always going to come up, like, what's the difference between the two? What am I getting here that I'm not getting there? And even like changing names of programs, what am I getting here that I'm not getting there? And I think that maintaining the offer suite and evolving it based on the data that's coming in, based on layering different bonuses, advanced versions if you want. Maybe that is more of a group coaching rather than just a low ticket where there's no coaching at all. When we evolve and we're communicating clearly what these upgrades are, you can frame your offer as an evolution, as a value boost. So if you think about, like, you get all the templates, you get all the things, but in the membership, you're looking for accountability, getting your questions answered quickly, getting my help to implement on the fast track. That is the difference between what you have right now and what the membership offers. Ultimately, when you think about various offers, people, selling the low ticket into maybe a mid into a high ticket, really the only thing that changes is access to you. Are you going to be live one-on-one in kind of like that Brady Bunch room? Or are you doing kind of a one-to-many where you're doing presentations and you're answering questions in a chat? That's a very different access. Or is everything pre-recorded now and they get access to the template and resources in order to complete the task? All of those are a different level of access to you. And if you can communicate that and solve a very specific problem based on access to you, I think that is the evolution of the offer. There have been offers that I have had now for 5 or 6 years, and I used to, very time intensive, used to take me forever, 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 forever. And most recently, because of the evolution of my low ticket, of the template, I'm like, well, I think I can simplify this further. I think that I can add some automations to it, and I think it will serve my customer who's asking me for one on one coaching, which I don't do right now. And so, is that the best of both worlds? And so, at the beginning, I just got off a call with Victor, and the preface was, all right, I'm not distracting myself, but I want to ask you about this offer and the evolution of the offer based on the actions that I've taken and what my customer is actually asking. And I think it fits both worlds. I'm going to sit on it. I'm not acting on it immediately, because as soon as I put it out in the world, I'm committed to it. And so I really want to think about all the angles of that evolution, all the access to me in the next step of the offer. Because the guiding principle, I don't want to say guiding principle, like one of the filters that Heather uses is, if I can't figure it out in 15 minutes, we don't need to be using it. That is how we determine if we're using a piece of software or not. Good or bad, that's what we use. And so all of my offers are time leveraged. When I think about, and we look inside our operations dashboard, like, what is it that I do? How do I fulfill on my offers? When I was creating those SOPs, everything is templated, everything is time leveraged, has a process behind it, some automations here and there, so that I am present in the places that only Rhonda can be present in, and software, system, template, or team supports that. And so as we move forward, I mean, right now it's a 3-day work week working with Heather, and I want to actually work less. And so how do I do that? That is the filter. And why do I want to work less? Because Daniel's home more, the kids are away. I want us to go off and do fun things. And I want to be able to pick up and go visit the kids. Maggie's getting ready to graduate from college. I cannot even believe that came out of my mouth. So I will have 2. I remember when Ander graduated from high school. Obviously, we're homeschooling all the kids. It was such a great celebration. And I said to myself, can we not all just graduate today? Because I felt really tired. And then Maggie graduated, and then it felt like Thomas and Jack, and we're done. Boom. And that ended like 15 years of doing that one thing. Andrew graduated from college, and now he has his job. Maggie's getting ready to graduate. She already has a job. And Thomas and Jack are going to fall really, really quick behind that. I don't want to stop running my business because my kids are older and Daniel or I are off traveling. I want to be present when they are present. That's very important to me. And so all of the offers, the evolution of the offers, not changing. I'm at a point now where I'm not changing. It's just an evolution of an offer. All are judged on streamlining my business operations, because I don't want to work in a burnout phase. There are many AI offers that I could offer, but I also use, just because I can does not mean I should, because Lord knows I have gotten myself in trouble. So I hope the episode was, it helps you go through, or you move through, are you evolving your offer, or are you changing your offer? And again, we talked about the evolution is really based on data. It's based on layering instead of replacing. And it is based on clearly communicating like what those upgrades look like. And so checking your boxes, are you evolving? or are you changing? And if you're feeling really tired because you're changing, maybe it's time to plant some roots and just evolve. Like, I normally don't wrap things up like that. That was good. So I'm going to leave it here, and we'll be right back next week.